God damn it, Bob. Where have you been? Sorry guys about the lack of content recently. With Firefall on a PvP hiatus and PvE still waiting on an expansive content, I got addicted to another game. During Final Fantasy XIV's beta, I was intrigued, but still was more interested in Firefall PvP. But as soon as early access started, I put all of my effort into leveling to see all of the content as soon as possible. Early access went flawlessly, and I started to see the game become more and more expansive and difficult as I hit level 35 and up. But then the official launch came. Everything went crazy. It took hours to log in. The servers had to open up individually in a rotation that let a few people in at a time and lasted only like 5 minutes. I had to log in at like 6 a.m. so that I could play when I got home from work. But with that strategy, I was able to play normally. Square definitely did not see this game being so popular in the beginning. I mean, it is a Final Fantasy game, but it is also an MMO with a box price and a subscription fee. They were really only thinking that a lot of people would come in interested, and then a lot of people would mainly come in from 11. But eventually they bought more servers and increased the stability since then, so it's easy to log in now. And as a treat, they gave a lot of the new people, along with a 30-day free subscription, they gave us another like 15-20 days just because of the problems they've been having. So really, you can beat the game before you even have to pay monthly subscriptions and see if you like it, which is kind of cool. But on to the content. Starting out, the game feels very generic, if not a bit slower than most WoW clones. The main parts that set it apart at the beginning are the graphics, the music, and the story. The graphics are amazing, and I had no issues running max graphics at like 100 plus FPS. A great change from Firefall, but this is also an RPG, so that helps. The music is awesome. Big surprise though, being a Final Fantasy game. The scores range from orchestral marches to German death metal, always fitting the scenario perfectly. The stories are very interesting, but I don't want to give away any spoilers. I will say though, the ending is freaking awesome. Now that I hit endgame though, I want to explain how much content is available already at launch. First off, the story continues well after you hit 50, and then from there, you unlock even more content such as the Relic Weapon quest line and the last part of the Grand Company quests. The Relic Weapons require crafting, so you have to level up the proper crafting class, which is why I haven't finished my Relic Weapon, or have someone craft it all for you. But that way it costs a boatload of money at the moment, so it might be worth it to just level up yourself. But who wants to level up again? I don't want to do it all again. Square realizes this, so they give you plenty of options for leveling up second time or third time around. The first time you leveled up, you mainly just had to do the story quests, dungeons for the story quest line, and then a few fates and generic quests along the way. So there are plenty of quests left over for other classes to do when you work on them. You also get a 50% XP bonus for every class that is below your highest level class. This works on monster kills and fate rewards. That makes dungeons and fates a lot more useful. I have 3 level 50s at the moment. The first one took about a week because the storyline takes a while and dungeons had a long queue time for damage dealers in the beginning. I was on a legacy server though, so every legacy member was leveling Arcanist. But the second classes I leveled only took about 4 days each. Now I'm focusing on the endgame gear. You can grind the last few dungeons for tokens that you use to purchase the best equipment. The weird part is, there are 2 types of tokens. Both have a cap on how many you can have at one time, around 2,000, but one of them has a weekly limit on how many you can earn each week, which is set at 300. Of course, this token unlocks a majority of the best armor. Some pieces will take 3 weeks though. This reminds me of the allowance limits they had in 1.0, where you could only gain 3 level heist allowances a day. It helps promote leveling up other classes, but it's still a kick in the groin for speedrunners and casuals that just want to focus on one class. Maybe they will fix it in the 2.1 patch, but right now, it just looks like a way to stall maxing out a character before 2.1 is able to come out. Moving on, let's actually talk about the dungeons and combat. The dungeons get exponentially more difficult after 35, to a point where if you don't already know how a boss fight works, it's impossible, and experienced players get really bitchy. I mean, complete asshats. My recommendation is to look up YouTube videos of each dungeon before you attempt it after level 35. It'll save you time getting through the storyline and stop people from raging. And if you're in a full group of noobs, at least you can explain it to them. Towards the end though, bosses take some skill as well. Classes are very similar to the ones you've seen in WoW and other MMOs, but they get much more intricate as you advance into your jobs, which are the advanced classes. And Square will test you with insane boss mechanics that require reactive rotations and good map awareness. All in all, it's really fun, but on the teetering point of frustration sometimes. I personally enjoy this game a lot, but as a person coming from Final Fantasy XI and not from WoW, I can see how this game is not for everyone. The slow global cooldowns seem like an annoying pace for the game, but it also makes the bosses more intense as mistakes are severely punished and often fatal. This forces players to be much more familiar with their classes and know the difference between solo and group rotations, as their class becomes more and more advanced. But I think that sums up most of my opinions so far in this game. I'll try to post some dungeon runs as I get further into my relic weapon line, or other dungeons that don't spoil the plot. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to click the like, subscribe buttons below for future content. Maybe. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.